Hello and welcome to Barnabas Junction. This is part 2 of a 2-part series about the control panel and point motor installation. The point panel there, which you would have seen me doing the switches and the simple wiring in part 1, was needed to be done to then obviously do part 2 and get point motors installed. I now have 2 point motors currently active already here, right in front of me, this one here, and now the one just underneath the station area here. The point motors that I'm installing are PM-2 Gaugemasters, and I'm going to be showing the installation of this into a point just underneath here. On the main lines. There's 2 points here to be done. I'm going to show you this next one in this installation video. As this layout is already ballasted and laid, it does make it exceptionally difficult now installing point motors. As with this, I have to drill upwards from underneath the baseboard to get access to the bottom of the point. Now, the difficulty in this is the fact that you've got to be very, very careful as you break through to totally make sure when the drill bit that I use as it comes through the board does not tear apart the point underneath, as that would then render that point useless and would need to be replaced. But we don't want to be doing that. So in this, I'm going to be showing the careful procedure required to drill up and fit the point motor in here. So I'll now get on and show you underneath the baseboard and the point itself that's to be converted with the switch. Okay, so here we are now. These are the next 2 points on the layout to have the motors fitted. The one nearest to you is the one I'm going to be showing you in this video. So as you can see, this is already pre-laid, pre-stuck down, ballasted and everything, so removal of the point, lifting it up from the layout to drill down for the access hole for the pin of the motor to come up is not possible, so we have to drill up from underneath. Now, as I've just mentioned previously, we do already have 2 points, this one here, and it's a bit dark, but this one just here, that's also been converted already and are fully operational. I'll just switch them for you so you can see them. There they are. They both switch really nicely. Let's see if you can see that one. Here we go. Okay, so that's what we want to do with these over here. Now, I'll take it underneath the board, as this is where the fun is. So we have to go down and underneath. I'll bring a light. Where we need to get is, you can see them droppers there. We've got to fit the point motor just in front of them droppers. Both lines, so we have to go up from underneath, so that's where the fun is going to be. So I'm going to get on and mark out and drill out that first hole. So yeah, it's difficult, it's going to be difficult. So I'm going to measure approximately where the center of the point is, where the hole is for the pin to come up, and that'll give me an idea of where I need to be drilling up from. To drill out the hole, I'm going to be using one of these 13mm. It's the smallest I've got, but it's just gives enough good clearance across the top there for the pin of the point motor to move across. I'm hoping that I do get it as central as possible with the centre of the point. So I'm going to get on now and drill that hole, measure and drill that hole out. So, just before we do proceed to take the measurements and drill up, we need to centralise the point itself so the hole is in the most centralised position for when the point motor goes in. So what I've done is just got these bit of wire which nicely fits between the switch blades and the main rails. Okay, so now I'll do the measurements and then get the drilling done. Okay, here we are now under the baseboard, and I have drilled out the first hole, and you can see them black lines there. That's just marking out where the point motor will sit in the board. I have also began preparing for drilling that hole while I was doing my measurements. As you can just see, the first measurements weren't spot on, but luckily I stopped before I did any more, remeasured, and as you can see, there's the bar, the point bar, and you can just see the hole as I put a light for the pin to go through. I've checked the point motor fitting, and it moves the bar perfectly, nice and smooth from side to side. So now I need to go over to the point motor now and get the wiring connected up to that, so then we can then get it secured underneath the board. So let's go and get the point motor wired up. Right then, so here we are with our point motor, the Gaugemaster PM-2. It does come with full instructions on how to wire these up for different points and switches and accessories that you need, like your signals and stuff. So it's very good and useful to have a good read of that before you commence. But we're doing this quite simply, as we're using a separate control panel, and nothing too difficult is required for this. Initially we only need to be installing 3 wires to this. The A, B and C terminals are the only ones we're going to be connecting wires to. A and B being the switch lives to each side of the point motor, and C being the capacitor return, which goes back to the CDU. It's a good idea to just tin these 3 terminals before putting the wires on, so I'll just do that. A little extra thing I'm doing regarding the point motors is I don't want to be having the wires directly connected from the motor to the panel. What I am doing is making them so I can disconnect them if I need to remove them from the baseboard or from the control panel. And for doing that, I have just show you there, fitted a block connector, as you can just see there, with just short wire from the point motor into a block connector, and then the wires go off to the control panel. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I've got 3 short lengths of wire already to be used. I've already tinned them ready, so there's 3. So we've got the 2 switch lives and the CDU return, and they'll be going on just like that. So I'll get those on now. First thing we'll do is just add a little bit of solder onto the contacts. There we go. A, B and C. So first one to go on is going to be A, and that's switch live, like so. Next one to go on will be the CDU return, like so. And finally, the other switch live. Like so. Just give them a bit of a pull, make sure they're secure, which they are. And now we can secure that in place underneath the baseboard. So I'll get this off here and get it on the baseboard. Okay, here we are now back under the baseboard with the point motor connected up and into the block connector with the 2 switch wires either side and the common loop return for the CDU. That goes off to the daisy chains between each of the point motors. That goes into that one there, so we don't have to have multiple wires everywhere. And then this wire, these 2 wires here, they go off to the control panel for the switch lives. Now I know a lot of people say, oh, you're using all the same wires, you're going to get confused. Trust me, the way I've done this, I ain't not going to get confused. This is actually working out really, really well for me. Very understandable. And the wiring I'm using, just so you know, this is actually speaker wire that you can buy from the local stores. This is about 25 pence per meter, but I think you can, if you buy 10 meters or more, I think you get it down to about 10 pence a meter. Really, really great stuff. Multi-core, and is absolutely fantastic for the ampage which these draw. Not had any problems whatsoever. As you can see, I've same wiring, those 2 point motors there. And that's working brilliantly. So I'll take you above the baseboard now and we'll show you it working. Okay, so we're now back here above the baseboard and you can see the pin that's sticking up through the switch bar, and we have now it all wired up to the control panel. There's a lot more wires now, and there's the baseboard to control panel connections. I've made some slight improvements to the connecting. This wire here is actually the one that comes from that point motor that we've just done. That goes into the back of this block, and here we've got these on some crimped pegs so they can be removed. That then comes along to the control panel, which matches up exactly with what's there, and that's that one there, which then goes through and round to the switch, which is that one there. So let's take you to the opposite side. So that switch is that one there for that point motor, and let's see if you can hear it. Everything sounds okay to me. Let's take you over. Right, here we go. There we go. A nice, good, solid throw there. Making sure the switch blades make a great contact to either side. Well, it's not necessarily important for me, but it's good to make sure that the switch blades are smoothly up against each side, so the wheels run over them nicely. And there we go. Point motor installed at Barnabas Junction. Time to just take the pin off now, cut the pin off, best thing to do is use a Dremel or cutting disc device like that, small device. You can use snips, but not recommended, as it's very tough pin, and when it does cut it will fly off, could go anywhere. It's unless you hold on to it, it's very tough. But so it's best to use a cutting device like a Dremel or something like that very quickly to cut through. Okay, so I'll get that cut off and we'll run some trains over it, see how it goes. Right, that's now the pin trimmed down, so let's test it out with the loco. Take it back, no problem. We'll now switch it and bring it back this way. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. There we go, all done. So, thanks for watching. I hope that's been helpful to you. Any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll happily help answer them for you. I want to get on and do the rest of the point motors here on Barnabas Junction layout, starting with the other one on the main line just next to it. So, again, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.